Hello, hey everyone. Happy New Year. And with New Year, we are going to forecast some trends. And this is the industry specific version for the retail industry. So let's dive right in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I'm principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent, vendor-agnostic technology advisory firm. We help our clients with technology strategy, system selection, and change management. So let's go back to our topic, which is the top retail digital transformation trends in 2026. Before we look at the list, let's analyze how we capture these trends and what we analyze. We are looking at both perspective, macro plus micro. We are looking at any sort of geopolitical issues, inflation, economy. All of these factors will drive how the retail industry is going to operate, how the business processes will evolve, and that leads to some sort of changes in the enterprise architecture, system strategy. So we are going to discuss all of that. Now, this list is applicable for buyers if you are looking to analyze your current architecture, current system landscape, and what changes you need to make. But this is also useful for software vendors in planning their R&D, as well as for executives if they are looking at their career options in terms of the different ecosystems. We publish these trends every year. So if you want to go back what we had done in 2024, 2025, that's available on our website. You can find a report under the guides and reports section, or you can find these on our YouTube channel. The only thing you need to do is retail digital transformation trends 2025, and you'll get that video for 2025. Overall theme, when we look at different factors that are in play for this year, you have AI, you have a lot of consolidation. Anytime, whenever you have a little downturn in the economy, consolidation is always going to be a factor. So we have that. We have price pressure. Again, that is all because of the slowed, soft economy. And you are also going to have a lot of supply chain disruption in 2026. So now let's look at the list. Number one on our list is brand websites as fulfillment centers. And when you look at this specific trend, ChatGPT and the generative technologies have come a long way. And overall, their role is evolving. They are far more capable in terms of the things that they are able to do. 3 years back, the only thing they could do is maybe just have a conversation, browse web. But now, with this trend, what they are able to do is they are able to browse different e-commerce websites and digital storefronts, and shoppers will be able to buy right from the interface itself. Now, this is a big move overall from the technology landscape perspective. If you look at the majority of the e-commerce channels, generally they relied on their websites to drive traffic. You had other channels such as Amazon, eBay, etc., and those were driving that traffic as well. But now this is going to be a completely different experience as well as interface that brands don't know. They need to optimize their websites for the generative AI technology interaction. These technologies are also going to evolve in how they work. So there's going to be a massive change that brands need to make. So whether you talk about utilizing a platform that is going to be compatible with these generative technologies, so e-commerce platforms, they will have to invest substantially with platform innovation in changing this category. And then also brands need to invest as well. They need to assess whether their current web storefront, they will be compatible with these new technologies or not. So that's going to be a theme, and this is going to be an upcoming change that we are going to see in the next few years. So keep an eye on this one. So that's number one. Number two on our list is agentic customer service. And overall, when you look at in the age of AI, customer service has come a long way. Traditionally, if you look at any of the e-commerce store fronts, they relied on offshore customer service because it was very hard to justify the cost of customer service. Locally, it was very expensive. Sometimes the profit margins were not there on the product to be able to support the customer services locally. In general, offshore experience, sometimes it could be hit or miss depending upon which call center you are working with. But for the most part, when you look at the agentic workflows, the experience is likely to be superior, even though sometimes people feel that AI may not be as great with customer service. But for the most part, when you look at the number of scenarios that they are trained on, the qualified answers that you are going to get, it was not possible from the human-centric customer service. So we are going to see a lot more adoption of agentic customer service. These workflows are going to evolve and they are going to be embedded with the majority of these systems. So again, if you are thinking of re-platforming your systems at this point of time, you most certainly need to make sure that these platforms will be investing substantially on the agentic capabilities. And if they are not, they might not be worth pursuing. So that's going to be a number two trend. Number three on our list is AI native retail software categories. And if you look at the AI native space, investors are investing substantially in the AI native categories. Most of the categories are going to be impacted, disrupted. For the most part, if you look at the AI native categories at this point in time, there is substantial innovation happening in the ERP space, FP&A space. There's some innovation in the S&OP space as well. There are some CRM players that are claiming that they are AI native, the true AI native, not the one that are simply bolting on AI native layers on top of the legacy platforms. So you are going to see this in the e-commerce space. Now, e-commerce space is slightly different and interesting. And the reason for that is because if your agentic or the generative AI technologies, they will act as the interface for the e-commerce websites, the question remains if the AI native platforms are going to be relevant in the new age. There is a possibility that for the e-commerce category, AI native platforms may not be as relevant, even though there are some startups that are working on that. And the reason why they would not be relevant, if consumers start shopping right on the generative AI interfaces, so then we don't know at this point of time whether anybody is going to go to the website. Obviously, everything will have the role to play, but for the most part, when you look at these AI native software categories, the investors need to have enough market share for them to be able to invest in these categories. And if they feel that there is going to be a risk because of these generative technologies, and if they are going to be the primary interface and the other websites are simply going to act as the fulfillment channels, then you don't have much of a play for AI native categories, but you are going to see a lot more popping up in the next few years. So keep an eye on this one. That's number three. Number four on our list is expedited content generation. And this we have seen last year as well. For the most part, the traditional problem with the majority of the e-commerce initiatives was that the content generation required investment, effort, and that's why brands did not pursue this as a channel. So now with generative AI technologies, text-based content is definitely doable for the most part when you look at product description, etc. They can be easily generated using generative AI technologies. Now, the majority of the platforms are going to have the capabilities to generate these content pieces automatically. But now generative AI technologies are becoming better at images, videos, and those we are going to see a lot more as well. In general, when you look at the tailored LLMs, which are going to be embedded, included as part of the majority of the e-commerce platforms, and they are going to be slightly superior at the tailored image and video generation. So you might need to look at that as well. Which systems have the tailored capabilities, how good they are at generating images and videos. They are obviously going to be better than some of the generic generative AI technologies or the LLMs. So keep an eye on that. Expedited content generation is going to be a trend to watch for this year, and that's number 4. Number 5 on our list is GEO optimization, and this is the variant of SEO optimization. For the most part, SEO optimization focused on search engines. Now we have the generative AI technologies that are becoming the primary traffic channel for most brands as well as industries. Now, when you look at the GEO optimization, and there has been a lot of speculation around how AI is going to evolve and how that is going to change the SEO. For the most part, SEO is still relevant even today. And for the most part, when you look at the AI workflows, they are browsing web. And for the most part, the way they categorize, the way they index pages, and the way they look at different websites is by looking at the SEO. So SEO is still relevant. If you optimize it for the SEO channels, for the most part, you are going to be ranking on GEO as well. But the only difference between GEO and SEO is now it is looking at some more things. For example, your brand mentions, how actively you are mentioned on social media or by directories or from the PR channels. So now you are looking at far more comprehensive view as opposed to just looking at the search engine aspects of the optimization. So GEO is going to be a trend to watch in 2026, and that's number 5. Number 6 on our list is AI augmented physical products. And now this is the category. This is not necessarily related to the processes or the enterprise software. These are the actual products that these brands or retailers are selling. So now you are going to have a lot more AI incorporated as part of the product, and that is going to change how they interact with your e-commerce portals or business software categories or the backend systems. So you will have to incorporate those workflows. For the most part, when you have AI inside these products, it's serving several purposes. For example, let's say customer experience. And when you have these notifications coming from these devices, you have to do something with those notifications. If you look at legacy systems, they don't have these workflows built as part of their workflow. So obviously there's going to be a massive change overall how these notifications and alerts will be addressed and how they will be responded to these inquiries, because that is going to help from the customer experience perspective. So that is going to be a trend to watch, and this is number 6. Number 7 on our list is displacement of search traffic. For the most part, if you look at traditional channels, they relied on search engines and some of the marketplaces to drive the majority of the traffic, which is going to change because now the majority of the traffic share is going to come from generative AI technologies or ChatGPT is probably the biggest market share at this point of time. But Google, Gemini, they also have decent market share now. The same thing goes with the Perplexity and the other generative AI technologies as well. So you are going to see massive shift to the Chat GPT as well as other generative AI technologies, and brands need to prepare for that. How they are going to address these traffic patterns and how the workflows are going to change, and that will have impact on your software architecture, how you are going to implement your technology, and what strategy you are going to have. So that is still going to be a trend for 2026, and that is number 7. Number 8 on our list is continued consolidation of the enterprise software industry. And this we have seen in 2025. For example, if you look at categories such as CDP or data-centric capabilities, for the most part, there were a lot of players that promoted that, okay, CDP is the must-have in the architecture. That was predominantly true from the B2C perspective. B2B, they have different concerns and different tool set that they need to utilize. But for the most part, what is happening in the market is, obviously, you had a lot of different best-of-breed solutions out there, especially in the Shopify ecosystem. But it's very hard to survive as best-of-breed. For the most part, when you look at their exit strategy, they are going to exit to one of the enterprise software vendor or to the private equity company. Generally, what these private equity companies do is they are going to consolidate or integrate a lot of different platforms, and they are going to sell it as a suite. And the reason why they do that is because they are trying to increase the revenue share deal size from these opportunities, as well as they are trying to get more from their existing customers rather than trying to get newer customers, which is obviously harder. So this is a trend that was predominant in 2025, and you are going to see the continuation of that in 2026 as well. So that's number 8. Number 9 on our list is AI-based personalization strategies and targeting. And again, this trend was very common in 2025. Now, based on AI, you are able to hyper-target a persona. You are going to have these agentic workflows. They can do much better job of personalization, which was not possible in the past. Now, composability is also going to be a factor based on those composable trends. You can swap out different components of your website. So composability is going to be powerful, but based on that, the biggest impact that these platforms are going to have would be on personalization strategy as well as targeting. We have newer strategies coming for the paid media channels as well. So we are already seeing that trend, and that is going to continue in 2026. So that is number 9. Number 10 on our list is continued supply chain disruptions. And you are still going to see the geopolitical issues, and because of that, there were major challenges from the supply chain perspective, which is going to continue in 2026. We don't know at this point of time whether that is going to be more or less, but you are definitely going to see a lot more supply chain disruptions. For the most part, what brands had done in 2025, they have reallocated their supply bases to better locations where they had slightly more geopolitical certainty. So they have already taken all of those steps, but we are still going to see the supply chain disruptions because of the political instability and the policy decisions that we are seeing in the market at this point of time. So expect that to happen in 2026 as well, and that is number 10. Number 11 on our list is AI-driven in-store experiences. And for the most part, when you look at this specific trend, it was slightly challenging, I would say, in the traditional architecture. And the reason for that is because, for the most part, when you look at different workloads, if you look at supply chain suites, you look at POS, you look at e-commerce, and then obviously the backend systems. If you look at all of these systems, for the most part, there were substantial data silos overall in these systems, and because of that, you could not provide the kind of in-store experiences that you would ideally want. Now that is changing with the agentic architecture. You are going to see POS players. They are going to incorporate AI-driven workflows, agentic workflows as part of their layer. It's going to be much easier to be able to interact with the backend systems, what they are able to do. So you are going to see a lot more scenarios of these AI-driven experiences. And now you have AI infused as part of your products as well. And that is going to interact with the other interfaces that you have inside store, and you are going to see a lot more hardware devices that are going to be AI compatible. So you are going to see a lot more overall in 2026 around this trend, and that is number 11. Number 12 on our list is last mile traceability. And last mile traceability overall has come a long way when you look at the QR code adoption, or when you look at how last mile traceability is tracked, communicated to other systems. For the most part, when you look at these last mile workflows, they were relevant with the enterprise retailers, companies. They could do that just because doing that required a lot more technical footprint. You had some vendors, smaller vendors, SaaS-like vendors in the Shopify ecosystem, as well as other SaaS players. They could do that as well. But for the most part, when you look at the data connectivity, data traceability, that wasn't there. Data wasn't as connected to provide the kind of last mile traceability that companies needed. You had a lot of issues from the customer experience perspective, as well as you required a lot more operational effort to be able to enable this. That is going to change overall because of the agentic workflows, because they can do a lot more overall with their capability now. So that is the trend that we are going to watch, and that is number 12. Number 13 on our list is micro fulfillment. And now with the agentic workflows, micro fulfillment will be easier as well, just because these systems will be able to communicate easily. You are not going to have as problematic architectural issues that we had in the past. Things are going to be easier. It does not mean that you will be able to solve everything, but for the most part, scenarios related to micro fulfillment will be easier to implement. They are not going to be as expensive. So that's going to be a trend to watch, and that is number 13. Number 14 on our list is sustainability. And sustainability is driven from many different forces. Obviously, you have the government mandate, and that is driving the need for the sustainable products. You also have consumers that are looking for sustainable products. So that has been the trend for last few years. That is going to continue in 2026 as well. And now with AI accountability, traceability, and governance technologies, they will be able to know a lot more about the products, about the companies. So they are going to be concerned a lot more. You are going to see a lot more reporting. They will be using generative AI technologies to be able to understand which brands are committing to sustainable efforts. So now consumer awareness is going to be more. And because of that, you are going to see a lot more a sustainability effort and sustainability branding messaging infused as part of the product placement, etc. So you are going to see that, and that is going to be the trend number 14. Number 15 on our list is composable, omnichannel, and unified commerce. For the most part, if you look at the trend for headless, composable, as well as unified commerce, it was slightly difficult to implement a few years back. And the reason for that is because for the most part, you required substantial investment to be able to deliver these capabilities. Now, with the vibe coding and generative technologies, you are able to code a lot faster. These technologies are far better overall with coding the text-centric efforts as opposed to rich media-centric effort. So you are going to see this trend a lot more. These effort will become cheaper. You have a lot more use cases now for the composable technologies because of AI. Agentic workflows in general are going to be a lot more composable in nature. So you will see that in 2026 as well. And that is trend number 15. Now, if you enjoyed this video, like and hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. This podcast is also available in the audio form on major podcasting channels. If you have not checked our digital transformation report, we published that on an annual basis. You are going to see a lot more benchmarks for your digital transformation initiatives inside that. So you are going to see the QR code of that highlighted throughout this video. And then we are also going to include a detailed report that is going to have much deeper analysis. So you might want to check that. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.